The period between 1916 and 1927 in China was marked by fierce political battles among warlords, each fighting for control over the country, while the hope for a stable republic seemed to slip further away. After Tuan Chig became premier once more, he found support from the research clique, a group led by Liang Chicho, who had been appointed finance minister. This group argued that the restoration of the monarchy had effectively ended the republic and that it was time to build a new one, with Tuan at the helm. To make this happen, they called for a new provisional parliament, which Tuan established on November 10, 1917. But this act sparked outrage in the south. Revolutionaries there, led by Sun Yat-sen, accused Tuan of violating the 1912 constitution, which had established the Republic of China. In response, Sun Yat-sen set up a military government in Canton, determined to protect the constitution. Tuan, in the meantime, worked to consolidate his power. He secured foreign loans under the pretense of supporting China's participation in the World War, while manipulating the provisional parliament to revise the laws of the 1912 constitution. He formed the Enfu Club, a group of military and civilian allies, to support his regime. In the parliamentary elections of August 1918, the Enfu clique emerged victorious, and they declared war on Germany, which allowed Tuan to secure more loans for the country's war effort. Tuan then shifted his focus to the southern military government, sending troops to Huen and Sequan to put pressure on the revolutionaries. This, in turn, led to more civil war. The newly appointed president, Feng Kuchang, favored a peaceful resolution but found himself at odds with Tuan. This conflict caused a split within the Peiyang clique, the political faction that had been controlling China. Tuan supporters, known as the Onwei clique, clashed with Feng's Chile clique. As the fighting continued, the Chile forces, with support from Chiang Tso-lin's Feng Tian army from Manchuria, eventually triumphed. Despite the victory, Chiang maintained independent control of Manchuria, ignoring the central government. By 1922, the Chile clique sought to unify the country and offered the presidency to Li Yuanhong. However, not all factions within the Chile clique agreed on the path forward. One faction, led by Wu Peifu, sought to conquer China militarily and support Li. The other faction, led by the Tinsin Pouting group, opposed Wu and backed Tsaokun for president. Eventually, after internal struggles, Li Yuanhong was forced out and Tsaokun used bribery to win the presidency in October 1923, offering 500 members of parliament large sums of money to support his election. This move deepened public disillusionment in the north, and many began looking to Canton for a better future. Sun Yat-sen's constitution protection movement, on the other hand, was struggling in the south. Sun did not control the military directly, and his political power was limited. In May 1918, he was ousted from his position in the Canton government by Liu Zhengting, a southwestern leader with his own ambitions. In frustration, Sun fled to Shanghai, where he focused on writing his outline of national reconstruction and reorganizing his political party into the Chinese Nationalist Party, Kuomintang. In 1920, he managed to reclaim Canton and established a rival Republican government, with himself as president. However, Sun's attempts to continue his constitution protection movement were thwarted once again in 1922, when his supporters in Canton mutinied. Sun narrowly escaped and, with the help of British and Russian forces, made his way to Shanghai. Despite his efforts, his campaign never gained the traction it needed. In the north, after Tsaokun's questionable election in 1923, the Fengtian army advanced toward Peking, leading to the Second Chile-Fengtian War. On October 23, 1924, Feng Yixiong, the Chile army commander, mutinied and seized Peking. This caused the complete collapse of the Chile forces. Feng, now supported by his own National People's Army, reformed the cabinet and forced Tsaokun to resign by November 2, 1924. Looking for national unity, the Fengtian clique, Onwei clique, and National People's Army asked Tuan Chig to lead a provisional government and invited Sun Yat-sen to Peking for peace talks. On December 31, 1924, Sunday arrived in Peking, where he was greeted by a warm welcome from over 100,000 people. However, his hope for a lasting resolution was dampened by Tuan's insincerity, and Sun's health rapidly deteriorated. On March 12, 1925, Sun Yat-sen died, leaving behind a legacy of disappointment. His revolution had failed to bring the peace and order he had dreamed of, and the country remained in turmoil. The chaos that followed the fall of the Qing dynasty had only continued, but Sun's work laid the groundwork for future progress. In 1926, a young general named Chiang Kai-shek took up Sun's cause and began the Northern Expedition, aiming to defeat the Warlords once and for all. By 1928, Chiang had succeeded to a large degree, and a nationalist government was established in Nanjing. Though the country was superficially unified, the deep wounds of warlordism were far from healed, and the struggle for true unity would continue.